It was a quiet afternoon on the edge of a small town, the kind of place where life usually moves slow and uneventful. People went about their day without expecting surprises until the sound of heavy motorcycle engines echoed down the street. A group of bikers rolled in, their presence turning heads instantly. Among them was a man known for his arrogance and reckless ways, the kind who enjoyed showing off power in the wrong ways. He never imagined that one moment of pride would turn into a lesson he would never forget. At the heart of the story stood a woman who looked ordinary at first glance. Beyond me at first glance. Steady, and not someone who demanded attention. But as fate would have it, she carried something within her past that spoke louder than words. Something she had never needed to show off, but was powerful enough to silence even the loudest crowd. The biker, seeking to prove himself in front of his crew, thought he could intimidate her. His smirk carried confidence, certain that no one would dare stand up against him. He didn't realize that the person before him was far from helpless. In fact, she carried a piece of history on her skin, a mark of honor that connected her to courage, discipline, and sacrifice. When the tension rose and the street grew quiet, all eyes were fixed on what would happen next. A single moment was about to flip the entire scene, changing the way everyone looked at her and shattering the biker's pride. The crowd leaned closer, unsure of whether to expect confrontation or silence. What the biker discovered left him frozen in place. His arrogance washed away in an instant. He thought he was the one in control, but the truth that revealed itself carried more weight than his pride could bear. And as everyone watched, the question remained: what could be so powerful, so undeniable, that it could shut him down completely? The answer lay in a single symbol, one that would change the way the entire crowd saw her forever. The street was still, every pair of eyes fixed on the woman who had suddenly become the center of attention. The biker's smirk had faded, but his pride wouldn't let him back down so easily. His crew lingered behind him, waiting to see if he would press forward or step away. No one yet understood why his expression had shifted, but they could feel the weight of something important hanging in the air. The woman didn't shout, didn't threaten, and didn't flinch. She simply stood there, calm and steady, as though she had been through storms far heavier than this one. People whispered to each other, wondering who she really was. After all, she had lived in the town for only a short while, keeping to herself, never causing trouble. Some had thought of her as shy, even fragile. But the way she faced down a man twice her size with nothing but quiet strength told another story. The biker tried to regain his composure, forcing a laugh that didn't sound convincing. "What's the big deal?" he muttered, his voice lower. Now, but the crowd caught the tremble in it. His crew exchanged uneasy glances, sensing that something about this woman was different. Something none of them could easily explain. What made it stranger was that she hadn't said a word. She didn't need to. The symbol revealed on her skin told a story that words could never capture. Those who recognized it immediately fell silent out of respect. Others, who didn't fully understand yet, could feel the gravity just the same. For the first time, the biker who thrived on fear and intimidation found himself facing a kind of strength he couldn't measure. He had relied on noise and numbers, but now he was standing before a truth that didn't waver. The question pressing on everyone's mind was clear. Who was this woman really, and what had her past prepared her for? The crowd's silence felt heavier with every second, as though the air itself carried the weight of an untold story. The biker shifted uneasily, trying to act as if nothing had shaken him, but his eyes betrayed the truth. He had seen the tattoo clearly, and it wasn't just any design. Was the kind of mark that spoke of battles fought, of discipline earned, and of sacrifice most people could never imagine. Whispers started to spread among those gathered. Few older men in the crowd exchanged knowing looks, their expressions softening with respect. They didn't need an explanation. They recognized the meaning right away. But for others, the mystery only deepened. Why would someone like her quiet, almost invisible in town life, carry such a powerful emblem on her skin? She stood there, her posture steady, as if nothing about this moment surprised her. Maybe she had seen worse. Maybe she had faced men like him before. Her calm was disarming, and it unsettled the biker more than open defiance ever could. He had built his reputation on loud threats and fearless behavior. But here he was, standing in front of someone who didn't need to raise her voice to command attention. Some in the crowd began to wonder if she had been a Marine herself, or if the tattoo was a connection to family, someone she had lost, or someone she still carried in her heart. The thought only made her presence stronger. Whatever the truth was, it was clear she wasn't ordinary. And this wasn't just a random encounter. The biker clenched his fists, caught between pride and the undeniable respect that Mark demanded. He had to decide whether to push forward or back down, but either choice would reveal more than he wanted to admit. And the woman, she gave nothing away. Her silence was its own story, waiting to unfold. The street felt like it was holding its breath. No one moved, no one spoke, as if the slightest sound would break the fragile moment hanging in the air. The biker's jaw tightened, his pride refusing to let him step back, yet the unease in his eyes gave him away. He had faced rivals, police, even bar fights that tested his limits, but never had he faced silence this heavy. The woman stood tall, unshaken, the Marine tattoo on her skin glowing under the sun like a silent warning. The crew behind him shifted nervously. A few of them exchanged doubtful glances, their bravado cracking as they realized their leader might not be as fearless as he pretended. The respect commanded by that Mark was too strong, too undeniable. For the first time, they weren't sure if following him into this confrontation was the right choice. The biker tried to steady himself. He stepped closer, his boots thudding against the pavement, each sound echoing louder than it should have. The crowd instinctively leaned back, but the woman didn't move. Her eyes locked on his, calm yet unyielding, and it was as if the world had narrowed to just the two of them. "Don't think some ink on your skin scares me," he muttered, his voice low but shaking at the edges. He wanted control, wanted the upper hand, but every word only revealed the crack in his confidence. People at the edge of the crowd whispered, wondering if the biker would make a mistake he couldn't take back. The tension was unbearable, stretching thinner with every heartbeat. He raised his chin, fists clenched, as though daring himself to follow through. The woman still hadn't spoken a single word, and yet her silence felt louder than his threats. Something was about to give. The question was whether it would be his pride or the calm storm she carried within her. The silence was so sharp it felt like the whole street was holding back a storm. Just when it seemed the biker might lunge forward, a voice broke through the tension, not from him, not from her, but from the edge of the crowd. An older man, weathered and steady, stepped closer. His eyes were fixed on the tattoo, and when he spoke, his words carried a weight that silenced even the whispers. "That mark isn't just ink," he said firmly. "It belongs to someone who's earned it." The biker froze, his crew shifting uneasily behind him. The crowd stirred, curiosity deepening. The woman still hadn't said anything, but now the attention wasn't only on her silence, it was on the question the older man's words left hanging. What exactly had she earned, and how? The biker tried to scoff, but the sound caught in his throat. For the first time, his crew seemed less interested in backing him and more drawn to the cue. Mystery unfolding before them. If the woman carried not just a tattoo, but a story of real service, then this was no ordinary confrontation. It was beginning to feel like a test of respect. One he was dangerously close to failing. The woman's eyes never left his. And that calm strength unsettled him more than the crowd's murmurs. He had built his life on being the one others looked at with fear. But now, people weren't looking at him, they were looking at her. His grip tightened, desperate to pull the attention back, to remind everyone that this was his stage. Then, another surprise hit. From the back of the crowd, a younger voice spoke up. "I've seen that mark before," the boy said softly. "My brother had it when he came back, but he never talked about what it meant." The biker's face paled. The crowd leaned closer, and the air thickened again. This wasn't just about pride anymore. The tattoo was becoming a story bigger than either of them, and the stakes had shifted into something no one expected. The street felt heavier than ever, but in that weight came clarity. The woman finally broke her silence, her voice calm yet steady enough to carry across the crowd. "This tattoo isn't about fear," she said, her eyes still fixed on the biker. "It's about service, sacrifice, and respect. It belongs to those who gave more than most people will ever understand." The words landed with force. The older man nodded quietly, confirming her truth. The young boy in the crowd lowered his head as if remembering his brother's quiet pride. For the first time, the biker had nothing to say. His clenched fists slowly relaxed, and the bravado he carried like armor slipped away. He wasn't facing a woe.